Honestly, this was a pretty cool day. I got a brand new KLX230R and I fell off the side of a mountain. Is there any better feeling than a new bike day? So first things first, you gotta run the engine in and then you gotta head out and do some stupid things. So this is my brand new 2026 KLX230R, and first I'm going to ride it pretty fast and then I'm going to try and do some hard enduro. So is my new bike good at falling off cliffs? Let me show you. We're out riding around in the hills around Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. We're starting today in Chiang Mai province, but before the end of the day, we'll be right over the mountain range in Mae Hong Son province. It's about a 2-3 hour drive by road, but about 4 or 5 hours if you head for the single track. Now, like I say, this is my brand new KLX 230R. I've had KLX 230s before, but I've never had the R model before. So I've only ever had the road legal dual sport models, and those are heavier. Now, the 230R, this is light as a feather, and the long travel suspension, it just floats over everything. It's so light, I just feel like I don't get tired. As soon as I got on this bike, I was in love. Now, the R is a bit taller than the dual sport. It's, like I say, that lovely long travel suspension. But mostly it doesn't really bother me. The fact that it's so much lighter means that getting a toe down instead of a foot down is often enough. It's not always, but often. So I'm 165 centimeters tall, which is just over 5'4". In case you're curious about my height relative to the bike. Now, in a lot of markets, you can actually get a low version of the 230R. It's called the 230RS, which would be super nice, but unfortunately, it's not available here in Thailand. So at 165 centimeters, I can manage the standard R model, but I guess it takes me a little bit more technique than if my legs were a little bit longer. Now, today is an awesome day. I'm out riding with some of my favorite riding buddies. So up ahead is PLR on the CRF300L. That bike's too heavy for me if we're going to do anything spicy, but PLR likes the torquiness and he has actual skills. Then behind me is our friend Gareth, and he is also a super skilled enduro rider. And now he also has a beautiful new KLX 230R. His other bike is the dual sport KLX 230 Sherpa, which is a good road legal workhorse. But now that he's got the R, I think it's safe to say that he's completely stoked. It feels like a dirt bike. And that's pretty cool because over here in Thailand, it's pretty crazy expensive to get your hands on a KTM or a Husky or something like that. So yeah, you can buy a 4-stroke KTM 350, but they're not particularly well suited to the super slow kind of hard enduro that we like to do here. So what you want is a 2-stroke, and unfortunately you can't buy those from a dealer here in Thailand because they haven't been homologated for the Thai market. That means that the only way to get a 2-stroke like that is via private import, and that gets crazy expensive super quick. Now, we actually do have 2-strokes available for our tours, but I usually don't ride them on the regular because the cost of spare parts just to maintain them is so prohibitive. Think of KTM prices, then add 40% import duty, and then add international shipping, and it starts to burn a hole in your pocket. So if you really want a 2-stroke for hard enduro here, we have them, and they're available. But unfortunately, you kind of have to pay European prices to cover the European costs of those bikes. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward, but sometimes I get people come to me complaining that our prices for the European 2-strokes are, too expensive for Thailand. I explain to them that if they want Thai prices, they can have a Thai bike. It's not a problem. But that means a CRF 300L. If they want the imported Euro bikes, then they're going to have to pay imported Euro prices just to cover the costs. So you might have noticed that the ride got a little spicier as we progressed into the mountains. And it was here that I went through the obligatory new bike test of seeing what happens when you fall off a cliff. So it doesn't look so crazy on the video, but I assure you the drop down to my left is reasonably serious. If a tree catches you on the way down, you'll be fine. But if you miss the trees, you're going to need a helicopter or at least 5 friends to get the bike out. So as you can see, I'm being super, super ginger here. I'm being so careful, just easing along because I just don't want to fall off the left side there. It's a pretty good drop. I don't want to be retrieving my new bike out of the ravine. And, I could get hurt, I guess. And that would suck too, because if you get hurt, you can't ride your dirt bike. So there's that. But anyway, so here we go, bit by bit. Now, the tricky bit here is because the path is so skinny, you got to be super careful that your engine case doesn't push you off the edge. So your wheels will fit, but will your engine case fit? That's the question, because you've got this little bank on the right-hand side. And yeah, if you get your wheels past it and then it hits your engine case and pushes you over, then you're toast. Now at this stage, I'm also getting a little bit tired. We've been riding for hours and I'm probably about 2.5 liters of water in. It's hot, and as you can see, it's super dry up here now. The weather's turned, we're heading into the burning season. Everything's going fine, and then I come to a diagonal route across the path. I'm okay. I'm okay. It just hurts. I'm okay. At least the bike didn't roll down the hill too far. All the petrol's leaking out there. Oh, can you go and save my bike, please? คุณใบช่วยกับรถเชิญก็นี่มันรถใช่โอเค Fuck. It's exactly what I didn't mean to do. The fender's caught on the tree. Move forward slightly. Hang on, I'll try and get the tree. Okay, you got it. Anyway, that was all a bit exciting. Had me worried for a few seconds there, as you could probably tell from the screaming. I'm usually not one to holler unnecessarily, but for just a second there, I did imagine that things might not end super well. I don't know if you can really tell from the video, but I did drop through the air for a good few meters. Anyway, here's my new favourite fact. The more you fall off your dirt bike, the more resilient your body becomes against injury. At least this applies to breaking your bones. So when bones undergo repeated impacts, this stimulates the body to send more minerals to the besieged bones, increasing their mineral density and making them stronger. Apparently, this is why Muay Thai fighters have shin bones like steel, because of the repeated impacts. So, of course, if you don't like falling off motorbikes or getting kicked in the shin, you can just lift heavy instead to get the same strengthening effect. More repeated stress on muscles and bones leads to stronger muscles and bones, which often means you can get away with doing more stupid things on your dirt bike. Without wanting to jinx myself, I've actually never broken a bone. And maybe that's because of a whole childhood of heavy lifting. Not in a gym, of course, but my father had this mania for building things out of huge river rocks. The kind of river rocks that would bend your crowbar. And all our heating and cooking was done with wood fires. So I spent most of my childhood lifting rocks, digging foundations, and loading firewood. It was like the Mosquito Coast meets CrossFit. So I reckon my bone density got off to a good start. Anyway, when you're in the middle of the mountains, there's no time for pussyfooting around after an accident unless you want to end up sleeping in the mountains too. So I got back up, I got back on the bike, and we carried on. There was plenty of steep single track to go, and at one point the track disappeared altogether, which is never very helpful. But with a bit of bush bashing and sliding down hillsides, we eventually found buffalo tracks, and then buffaloes, and then a farmer's hut, and eventually a road. Some of those bits coming down the mountain were extra spicy for me because having the bike upside down had caused an epic air bubble in my front brake line. So my brakes the front brakes, they weren't working at all. So I spent a good part of the descent just sliding down hillsides with the rear brake locked up, just trusting that the gods of dirt biking would lead me between the tree trunks and not into them. Mostly, this worked. We reached the military checkpoint and a nice cold beer before dark, and then scooted back down the road to a good dinner. 5 stars for the new KLX230R.